Assalamualaikum and good day to Dr. Munira and my fellow friends. I am Muhammad Hazim bin Muhammad Jeffrey. Today, we are from Group 31. We would like to present a topic under cybersecurity and encryption driver, which is the importance of cybersecurity in the world of banking.
I am Amahani Brazisma, and this will be our overview of our presentation. We will talk about definitions, history, correlation, importance, industries involved, examples, challenges, and conclusion. Moving on. First, we will talk about definitions. We will be talking about two particular words here, which are cybersecurity and encryption. So the definition of cybersecurity is the organization and collection of resources, processes, and structures used to protect cyberspace and cyberspace-enabled systems from occurrences that misalign de jure from de facto property rights. While encryption can be defined as a means of securing digital data using one or more mathematical techniques, along with a password or key used to decrypt the information. The encryption process translates information using an algorithm that makes the original information unreadable. Let's go through a brief history of cybersecurity for the past decade. From 1940s, computer virus theory was introduced. And for the next 10 years, phone freaks take over computers since people know how to work on with computer viruses. Then hackers become more abundant for personal benefits for their own good. And in 1970s, computer security began to be discussed by major major antivirus companies like Avast and so on. In 1980s, scanners are introduced, including immunizers, which similarly works as vaccines in our human body. And in 1990s, very first antiviruses were born. In 2000, since everything is modern by the time, website viruses have been created. A new infection was born, which means that you don't have to download anything from online. You just have to visit a website to get infected by a computer virus. And finally, and most recently, in 2010s, criminals and technology began to rival each other with advancing technology. Criminals began to make their own viruses in many, many ways, and technology began to counter them in good manners.
Okay, I will continue with the correlation between cybersecurity and digital banking. In 2002, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or known as the FBI, warned global the financial cybercrime will increase. The FBI also state that the increased use of digital banking will contribute to an increase in financial cybercrime. Therefore, they encourage financial institutions and mobile banking providers to guarantee digital banking cybersecurity. While the rapid development of technology day by day, digital banking acquired enormous appeal among clients, not to mention during the COVID-19 pandemic. Financial organizations might execute critical duties while working remotely thanks to digital banking. Customers might also use e-wallet and digital banking to access various financial services. To summarize, digital banking helped the global economy by facilitating faster and more comfortable financial transactions. One of the biggest difficulties with the rise in digital banking is that it has made some financial institutions more vulnerable to hackers. Indeed, banks and financial organizations throughout the world have admitted that they are facing security issues in their digital marketing model. Therefore, financial institutions should have a clear idea of common security issues in digital banking and how they can overcome them. Next. Next, about the importance of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity protect all types of data against thief and loss. Sensitive data, personal identifiable information (PII), protected health information (PHI), personal information, intellectual property, data and governmental information system are all included. Our organization cannot protect itself against data breach operation without a cybersecurity program, which make it an easier target for cyber criminal. The major goal, the major goal of cybersecurity in digital banking is to protect the customer asset. As people go cashless, more and more transactions and activity are conducted online. People utilize digital money, such as credit cards and debit cards, for transactions that must be secure under cybersecurity. However, the impact is not only for client, but also the institution as they strive to retrieve the data. banks may have to pay a significant amount of money to recover the data or information. Banks must have good cybersecurity because data breaches can make it difficult to trust financial institutions. It might generate major issue for banks. Cybersecurity in digital banking assure the safety and confidentiality of your sensitive data, which is revealed might lead to several problems like fraud. And once data is not safeguarded by cybersecurity, it can be readily breached. It may cause substantial financial loss to a person or mental stress in case where cybercrime occurs. Therefore, cybersecurity is important nowadays and as a savior for digital banking to continue to be guaranteed.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Aiman Izzat bin Adnan, and I will talk about the industries involved in developing the driver and current state of cybersecurity. So, many companies are continuing to invest in technology to run their businesses now. They are layering more systems into their IT networks, which can create potential new vulnerabilities. So, three of the industries involved in developing and improving the cybersecurity are education sector, technology industry, and banking, financial services, and insurance or BSFI sector. Next. So for the first one, which is education sector, education sector provide training from school until university level. There are schools who organize cybersecurity programs, and many university offers courses in cybersecurity or courses in a similar field. This is to raise awareness to youngsters on cybersecurity and to produce well-trained and educated graduates in cybersecurity. Example of universities which offer courses in cybersecurity is Asia Pacific University or APU and Multimedia University, which is MMU. Next, there are also offers in scholarships in cybersecurity, which is to encourage more students to enroll in cybersecurity. For example, Yayasan Peneraju Teknologi Cybersecurity Full Stack and ISC Squad Undergraduate Cybersecurity Scholarship. Moving on to technology industry, many companies in technology industry are investing billions of dollars. Many big companies pledge new investments, training, and programs to improve and develop the cybersecurity. For example, Google invests US $10 billion aimed at helping secure the software supply chain and zero trust programs, while Microsoft invests US $20 billion and make available US $150 million in technical services to help local government upgrade their defenses. Next, in the technology industry, they implement advanced machine learning in the cybersecurity. This is to deliver additional security that is automated and personalized with no impact on productivity. The advanced machine learning also correlate and assign security risk rating to each vulnerability found across various scan types and apps. For example, Broadcom Incorporated launched adaptive protection that utilizes machine learning techniques based on their old software, which is Symantec Endpoint Security Experience. And last but not least, moving on to BSFI sectors. In cybersecurity, they implement advanced technologies. For example, tokenization, which is a fine-grained form of data protection that replaces sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalent referred to as token to secure the original. Next, artificial intelligence-based learning, which offers instant multi-parameter verification for all financial operations, and end-to-end verification, which has taken large leaps forward through embedded hardware, authentication, and blockchain-based security. And lastly, cyber insurance. So the cyber insurance cover financial losses that result from cyber events and incident, for example, breach or hacks, and compensate or identify for upfront first-party costs, huge third-party liability exposure, or heavy fine imposed by a data protection authority. For example, in 2011, Sony's PlayStation Network was breached by hackers, exposing personal identifiable information (PII) of 77 million PlayStation user accounts. This breach caused the user to cannot access the service for 23 days. In the end, Sony lost US $171 million. So these losses can be prevented by cyber insurance.
My name is Muhammad Aiman. So today I will present to you two examples to elaborate more about the role played by the cybersecurity and encryption technology in sustainable development, especially in financial institutions. The first example is from our country, Malaysia, and the second one is from other country. So let's see the first example. there was a study conducted which shown that the Malaysian public concern about the security issues was the highest it had been since the last decade. According to the 2017 UNICEF Security Index, there were three areas of security that Malaysians are concerned about, which are bank card fraud, which shows that 88% of Malaysian public are concerned about someone who obtains and use their debit card or credit card details. The second one is identity theft, which show that 87% of Malaysian society are concerned about people who misuse their personal information in order to get access to something. And the third highest one is viruses or hijacking with 77%. This show that the Malaysian public are concerned about computer and internet security in relation to viruses or hijacking. According to Dr. Haji Amiruddin Abdul Wahab, Cybersecurity Malaysia provide a number of proactive services which educate the people about the online safety and encourage fast reporting and response to data breaches. Let's move on to the next example here. As for now, in order to transform a developing nation to a developed one, the implementation and development of technologies is one of the solutions to achieve the objective. For example, here we shows India has deployed Aadhaar Biometric ID, which was launched in 2010. This ID program is the world's largest ID program, which surpassed about 1 billion sign-ups in just under 6 years. So let's see the objective of the biometric ID here. So the first one is to provide a unique identification number to users. This provide a centralized system for a whole country rather than using a vulnerable system which led to the damage or the loss of data, such as the use of the birth certificate system. As years to years, we see that the implementation of biometric ID has expanded increasingly by private companies in their system. So let's see the benefit of Aadhaar Biometric ID in India. The first one is to ease the process of verification. The second one is to provide an e-payment capability. And the third one is to allow the marginalized residents to participate in society and to benefit from economic growth. According to Hannah and Reina in 2012, there are only 20% of India's residents who has the bank account. The bank account can be a vital component to the individual for working once out of the poverty. So, how does one open a bank account without being able to establish their identity? So, the implementation of Aadhaar Biometric ID is one of the solutions to establish their identity in order to open their bank account.
I am Muhammad Ashraf bin Abdullah, and I will talk about the challenges of cybersecurity. The first challenges of cybersecurity is ransomware attacks. Ransomware attacks have become popular in the last few years and pose one of India's most prominent cybersecurity challenges in 2020. According to the cybersecurity firm Sophos, about 82% of Indian organizations were hit by ransomware in the last 6 months. Ransomware attacks involve hacking into a user data and preventing them from accessing it until a ransom amount is paid. Ransomware attacks are critical for individual users, but more so for businesses who can access the data for running their daily operation. However, with the most ransomware attacks, the attackers don't release the data even after the payment is made and instead try to extort more money. The second challenges of cybersecurity is cloud attacks. Most of us today use cloud services for personal and professional needs. Also, hacking cloud platform to steal user data is one of the challenges in cybersecurity for businesses. We are all aware of the infamous iCloud hack, which exposed private photos of celebrities. If such an attack is carried out on enterprise data, it could pose a massive threat for organization and maybe even leads to its collapse. Thirdly, phishing attacks. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack often used to steal user data, including login credential and credit card number. Unlike ransomware attacks, the hacker, upon gaining access to confidential user data, doesn't block it. Instead, they use it for their own advantages, such as online shopping and illegal money transfer. Phishing attacks are prevalent among hackers as they can exploit the user's data until the user find out about it. Phishing attacks remain one of the major challenges of cybersecurity in India, as the demographic here is not well versed with handling confidential data. Lastly, outdated hardware. Well, don't be surprised, not all challenges of cybersecurity come in the form of software attacks. With the software developer realizing the risk of software vulnerabilities, they offer a predict update. However, this new update might not be compatible with the hardware of the device. This is what leads to outdated hardware, wherein the hardware is not advanced enough to run the latest software version. This leaves the device on an older version of the software, making them highly susceptible to cyber attacks.
I'm Muhammad Syarul Basri bin Abdullah. So I will continue with the recommendation of ways to improve the cybersecurity system. So first, we can apply the patches and security updates that help to operating the system because the best to close the susceptibility of the networks. So many cyber attackers actively look to use unpatched software as an easy backdoors into the network. Second, you can use the strong password as a way for cyber attackers to breach network is to simply guess the username and password that we use for the bank account that we log in. Users should be urged to not use the common, easy to guess password and also the password such information like our birth date, ID or passport number. If you have many different passwords, so you can use different password for different bank account. Third, use working antivirus software. Antivirus software help to detect suspicious link, malware, and other threats distributed by cyber attackers and irresponsible people. It is important to ensure that the software is working and up to date so it can be more precise and useful. Last but not least, we should be mindful of access to our network and supply chains. Our account should be regularly backed up and the file should be safe from the cyber attackers. Also, beware of anyone else that has the possibility of removing our security system or hacking our account. They will steal our data. It is important to brief the wider organization about threat so you know how to report any suspicious activity if it is happened. Last but not least, you noted that to only use approvable connections and devices and please disconnect your Wi-Fi after you're done. In conclusion, online banking is very useful nowadays and it should be noted that it should be secured and our personal data couldn't be revealed by the responsible cyber attackers. Even though there are many challenges to keep the thing secured in the reality of the digital world, there is always a solution to make it happen. Last but not least, do not be scared to use online banking as there are always a policy, term, and regulation by the bank management to deal with the cyber attackers and they will keep your data safe. According to the MDEX statistic, Malaysia is one of the best working countries in Asia region, even in the worldwide, in the cybersecurity industry, with an anticipated demand for 10,000 and half cybersecurity talent in Malaysia by 2020, and the numbers keep rising. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.